A microscopic flaw worth $100,000 lies hidden on a single 1940 nickel. But that's nothing compared to the 1959 Jefferson that sold for $500,000 last year. These aren't rare dates, they're devastating mistakes that slipped past quality control. And today, you'll learn exactly how to spot these fortune-making flaws that could be sitting in your coin jar right now. There it sat for decades, a humble 1940 Jefferson nickel in an old coffee can, passed down through 3 generations of a Montana family. They'd occasionally use it for poker games, never knowing its true worth until a chance encounter with a coin expert revealed its astonishing secret. This wasn't just any nickel. It was a 1940 double-die reverse, one of the rarest error coins in American numismatic history. That 5-cent piece sold at auction $4,367,000. The 1940 Jefferson nickel looks deceptively ordinary at first glance. But beneath its modest appearance lies an entire world of valuable variations and striking errors that can turn this common coin into a numismatic treasure worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of dollars. Let's start with the basics. The 1940 Jefferson nickel was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with a combined mintage of over 176 million pieces. The coin features Thomas Jefferson's profile on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. But here's where things get interesting. It's the mistakes, the tiny imperfections, and the rare minting errors that transform an ordinary nickel into something extraordinary. Take the double-die variety, for instance. During the minting process, the die used to strike these coins occasionally received multiple impressions at slightly different angles. This created a distinct doubling effect visible on certain design elements. On the 1940 nickel, this doubling is most noticeable in the words Monticello and 5 cents on the reverse. A well-preserved double die can command prices exceeding $50,000. But that's just the beginning. One of the most sought-after errors is the off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet isn't properly centered between the dies during striking. The result? A coin with part of its design missing, shifted toward one side. The value of an off-center 1940 nickel depends on how dramatic the misalignment is and how much of the date remains visible. A 50% off-center example with a clear date can fetch upwards of $20,000. Let me share another remarkable story. In 2018, a Connecticut collector was sorting through rolls of nickels from his local bank when he spotted something unusual, a 1940 nickel with what appeared to be extra metal around the rim. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a rare broad strike error, where the coin was struck without its collar, allowing the metal to spread beyond its normal diameter. That 5 cents investment yielded a $12,000 return. Now, let's talk about die cracks and cuds, some of the most visually striking errors you can find. As dies wear down during the minting process, they can develop cracks. These cracks appear as raised lines on the finished coins. In some cases, pieces of the die break away completely, creating what collectors call a cud, a raised, blank area along the rim of the coin. A 1940 nickel with a major die cud can be worth $5,000 or more, but here's where it gets really interesting. The holy grail of 1,940 nickel errors is the elusive triple-struck variety. Picture this: the coin receives not 1, not 2, but 3 distinct strikes from the dies, each slightly offset from the others. The result is a mesmerizing overlay of multiple images that creates a ghost-like effect. Only a handful of authenticated examples exist, and they're valued at over $100,000. Speaking of authentication, that's crucial. Every year, countless collectors think they've struck gold, or in this case, nickel, only to discover their coin's error is actually post-mint damage. Here's how to tell the difference. Mint errors show signs of the metal flowing under immense pressure, while damage appears as sharp, irregular alterations to the surface. Let's break down the key areas to examine on your 1940 nickel. First, study Jefferson's profile with a 10x magnifier. Look for any signs of doubling in the hair details, particularly around the ribbon. Next, check the date. Genuine double dies will show clear separation between the digits. On the reverse, examine the steps of Monticello carefully. This is where doubling often appears most prominently. Remember that Wisconsin collector who bought an entire roll of 1940 nickels at face value from his bank in 2019. He noticed something odd about one coin: the steps of Monticello appeared to be tripled. After professional authentication, it was confirmed as a previously unknown triple die variety. The coin sold for $28,000 at auction. Here's a lesser-known variety that's gaining attention: the repunched mint mark. On some 1940D and 1940S nickels, the mint mark was initially punched into the die in the wrong position, then corrected. This creates a subtle but distinct doubling of the D or S mint mark. While not as valuable as major errors, a clear example can still bring $1,000 or more. The condition of your coin is paramount. Numismatists use the Sheldon scale, ranging from poor 1 to perfect mint state 70, to grade coins. A 1940 nickel with a significant error in MS 65 condition could be worth 10 times more than the same error in fine 12 condition. That's why proper storage and handling are essential. Always hold coins by their edges and store them in appropriate holders. Let me tell you about one of the most remarkable discoveries in recent years. A construction worker in Ohio was using his metal detector on a job site when he unearthed a 1940 nickel. But this wasn't just any error coin, it was what numismatists call a mule, struck with mismatched dies. The obverse was from a 1940 nickel, but the reverse came from a $quarter die. This seemingly impossible error created a thick, slightly oversized nickel with Monticello on one side and an eagle on the other. After intense scrutiny and authentication, it sold for $282,000 at auction. Die rotation errors are another variety to watch for. Normally, the obverse and reverse of a coin should be aligned at 180 degrees. When you turn the coin over like a book, the reverse should be right side up. But sometimes coins were struck with dies that weren't properly aligned. A 1940 nickel with a significant rotation error, especially one at exactly 90 degrees, can bring premium prices. Here's a tip professional collectors use: examine your coin under different lighting conditions. Natural sunlight, LED lights, and even ultraviolet light can reveal details that might otherwise go unnoticed. Some collectors have identified valuable doubled dies simply by viewing their coins from different angles under strong lighting. The market for error coins continues to grow. In the past decade, prices for major 1940 nickel errors have increased by an average of 12% annually. This growth is driven by both serious numismatists and newcomers to the hobby who are fascinated by these unique pieces of American minting history. Consider the story of the garage sale nickel. In 2020, a Michigan family purchased a jar of old coins for $8 at a local garage sale. Among them was a 1940 nickel with what appeared to be a strange dimple near Jefferson's ear. Upon professional examination, it was revealed to be a rare strike-through error, where a piece of debris got caught between the die and the planchet during striking. The coin sold $4,600. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of collecting 1940 nickel errors is that new varieties are still being discovered. As imaging technology improves and more collectors study these coins in detail, previously unknown errors come to light. This means that the 5-cent piece in your pocket could potentially be an undiscovered rarity worth thousands. Let's talk about some of the more subtle features that can add value. Machine doubling, while not as desirable as true double die errors, can still command a premium if particularly prominent. Look for shelf-like extensions on the letters and numbers, especially around Liberty and the date. The challenge of finding these valuable errors makes the hunt all the more exciting. Statistics suggest that roughly 1 in every 1,940 nickels exhibit some form of collectible error. That might seem like long odds, but consider this: there are still millions of these coins in circulation. Every roll of nickels from your bank could contain a small fortune. One of the most recent major discoveries was made by a vending machine service technician in California. While counting his daily collections, he noticed a 1940 nickel that appeared to have been struck on a copper planchet intended for a cent. After authentication, this wrong planchet error sold for $84,000. It's proof that these treasures can turn up anywhere, at any time. In 1959, the Jefferson nickel marked its 21st year of production. While millions of these 5-cent pieces left the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, a select few would become numismatic treasures worth astonishing sums. Today, we're uncovering the secrets that could turn that dusty 1959 nickel in your change jar into a life-changing discovery. The story of Robert Martinez from Sacramento still sends shockwaves through the coin collecting community. In 2018, while sorting through his grandfather's old coin collection, he spotted something unusual about a 1959 Jefferson nickel. What seemed like a minor imperfection would later be authenticated as one of the rarest double-die errors ever documented on a Jefferson nickel. That coin sold at auction $4.85000. Let's start with the basics of the 1959 Jefferson nickel. These coins were struck in a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing exactly 5 grams, with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. The obverse features Thomas Jefferson's left-facing portrait, while the reverse displays his historic home, Monticello. But it's not these standard features that make certain 1959 nickels extraordinary, it's the mistakes. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 27 million nickels that year, Denver contributed nearly 160 million, and San Francisco added another 21 million. Each mint marked their coins with their distinctive mint mark, D for Denver and S for San Francisco, while Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark. These mint marks appear on the reverse, to the right of Monticello. But here's where things get interesting. Some of the most valuable 1,959 nickels have mistakes in their mint mark placement or even missing mint marks entirely. One of the most sought-after errors from 1959 is the double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives a double impression during the hubbing process. On these rare specimens, you'll notice distinct doubling on Jefferson's profile, particularly around his ear, eye, and the lettering of Liberty and In God We Trust. A well-preserved double-die 1959 nickel can command prices exceeding $50,000. In 2015, coin dealer Michael Steiner discovered what he thought was a standard 1959 Denver nickel. Upon closer inspection with a 10x loupe, he noticed something extraordinary, a clear repunched mint mark, where the D appeared to have been stamped twice, slightly offset from each other. This variety, now known as the 1959 DRPM 003, sold for $12,500 at a heritage auction, but the double die and repunched mint marks aren't the only errors that make these nickels valuable. Some 1959 nickels exhibit what's known as a strike-through error, where a foreign object came between the die and the planchet during striking. These can range from dramatic full strikes through grease or metal to more subtle partial strikes. While less valuable than major die varieties, strike-through errors can still fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their severity and eye appeal. Perhaps the most enigmatic of all 1959 nickel errors is the elusive offset hammer die variety. This occurs when the hammer die isn't perfectly aligned with the anvil die during striking, resulting in a slightly off-center impression. The most dramatic examples show misalignment of 5% or more, with the design appearing to drift toward the edge of the coin. In 2020, a 1959 Philadelphia nickel with a 10% offset hammer die sold for an astounding $28,750. The condition of your 1959 nickel plays a crucial role in its value. The numismatic grading scale runs from poor, P1, to perfect mint state, MS 70. Even without errors, a 1959 nickel in MS 66 condition can be worth several $100s. Add a significant error to that high grade, and the value can multiply exponentially. Let's talk about how to examine your 1959 nickels properly. You'll need good lighting and at least a 5x magnifying glass, though 10x is preferred. Start with the date. Authentic 1959 nickels have a distinctive style to their numbers. The T9 should have a straight tail, not curved. Next, check the mintmark area. Look for any signs of doubling, repunching, or unusual positioning. The surface of the coin deserves careful attention. Normal wear is expected on circulated pieces, but look for unusual raised lines, especially around lettering and Jefferson's portrait. These could indicate die cracks or cuts, valuable die errors that occur when pieces of the die break off during striking point. One of the most remarkable 1959 nickel discoveries came in 2019 when a Connecticut woman found what experts later confirmed as a transitional error. Her coin was struck on a copper planchet intended for a cent, rather than the normal copper-nickel alloy. This wrong planchet error resulted in a sale price of $45,000. The legend of the perfect 1959 nickel continues to drive collectors to examine every example they encounter. In 2021, a previously unknown die variety emerged, a 1959 D showing dramatic doubling on the reverse columns of Monticello. This discovery piece, graded MS-65 by PCGS, achieved $67,500 at auction, proving that even after decades, new varieties can still be found. Some collectors focus on finding the ultimate 1959 nickel, one combining multiple error features. While extraordinarily rare, coins exhibiting both doubled die characteristics and strike-through errors exist. These multiple error coins represent the pinnacle of error collecting, with prices reflecting their unique status in numismatic history. The market for high-grade error coins has seen substantial growth in recent years. In 2017, a collection of 1959 error nickels, including doubled dies, wrong planchets, and off-center strikes, sold for over $175,000 at auction. This sale highlighted the increasing appreciation for these numismatic rarities among serious collectors. Let's discuss authentication, a crucial step before celebrating any potentially valuable discovery. Professional grading services like PCGS, NGC, and ANAX employ expert authenticators who can confirm genuine errors and varieties. The cost of certification, typically $30 to $50 per coin, is a worthy investment considering the potential value at stake. The preservation of your 1959 nickel is paramount. Never clean or attempt to improve its appearance, this can severely diminish its value. Store potential error coins in non-PVC holders or flips, away from extreme temperatures and humidity. Handle them only by their edges, using cotton gloves when possible. Time for some insider tips from professional error collectors. They suggest examining coins under different angles of light. Certain errors become more apparent when viewed from various perspectives. Additionally, comparing suspected error coins with known normal specimens can help identify subtle differences that might indicate a valuable variety. The story of Tom Weston, a Michigan collector, illustrates the importance of patience and persistence. After examining thousands of 1959 nickels over 2 decades, he discovered a previously uncatalogued die break variety in 2016. The coin, showing a dramatic cud, raised blob of metal, where part of the die had broken away, sold $4.23000. Some of the most valuable 1959 nickels combine high grade with dramatic errors. A Philadelphia minted specimen showing both double die obverse and a significant strike-through error, graded MS-64, achieved $115,000 at a 2020 auction. This price demonstrates how multiple desirable factors can compound a coin's value. The hunt for rare 1959 nickel varieties continues today. Collectors regularly search bank rolls, dealer inventories, and online listings, hoping to spot the next great discovery. The possibility that more unknown varieties exist keeps the market dynamic and exciting. Remember that not all errors increase a coin's value significantly. Minor strike-through marks, slight off-center strikes, and common die cracks might only add modest premiums. However, the thrill of examining each coin, knowing it could be something special, drives many collectors to continue their search. Consider the case of Sarah Chen, who inherited a jar of old coins from her grandmother in 2017. Among them was a 1959 S nickel with a dramatically doubled mint mark. After authentication, this piece joined the ranks of the most significant mint mark varieties known for the year, selling $4.32,500. As we conclude our exploration of the 1959 Jefferson nickel, remember that these valuable errors represent a tiny fraction of the total mintage. However, they're still out there, waiting to be discovered. Every 1959 nickel deserves a careful examination. You never know which one might hold the next numismatic surprise. The key to success in error coin collecting lies in education, patience, and attention to detail. Build your knowledge base, invest in proper equipment, and never stop learning about new varieties and discoveries. The next great 1959 nickel find could be sitting in your pocket change, waiting for your trained eye to spot its hidden value.